Live Friday afternoon, folks. Ted Ralston here with our show Where the Drone Leads at the Think Tech Studios overlooking downtown Honolulu or Waimanalo Bay. I can't quite tell what we're overlooking today. Anyway, this show Where the Drone Leads, we talk about things that are relevant and current in the world of droneism. And this show is also known by the people it brings on as guests. We have three excellent guests today. We have Jordan Bayang, Evan Kawamura, and Kalani Rivera. And gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the show today. And you can speak if you want.
All right.
All right. The reason you guys are here is we have a lot of people who talk about the componentry of drones, the rules, and this sort of thing. You guys are actually involved. You're doing stuff. You've been doing it for a year. You just came back from a trip to the East Coast, from Manoa to Pax River, Maryland, right?
That's correct.
For a competition in drones. Hawaii kids going to a competition on the East Coast and doing very well, as a matter of fact, right? Not a bad thing for a starter. So let's have you guys talk a little bit about drone tech, which it says on your shirts. And by the way, I'm actually a closet member of that group. Only in my closet today I couldn't find a shirt because I wore it on a trip I was on last week in Las Vegas at a conference with the National Fire Prevention Association dealing with drones, wearing my Drone Tech shirt. But now we can't find it. So anyway, Evan, why don't you start us off and tell us a little bit about what drone tech is and how this fits in the engineering educational program at UH.
So we started in spring 2014. That's when I jumped on. But this is the first year that we went to competition. We got 17th overall. There's 46 who registered.
So 17 out of 46?
Yeah, 46.
For first time out?
Yeah, so
6,000 miles away from home.
Yeah, so
Not
we
bad.
did a lot better than I expected.
Yeah, that's great. And so this is a competition using drones to do some function.
Yeah, search and area tasks.
Searching area task, which is sort of like search and rescue. It's the preliminary before search and rescue.
Yeah.
So what you learn would be useful in advising police departments and fire departments and even drone manufacturers on the use of drones in search and rescue.
Probably, definitely.
All right, we got to make that happen. And Kalani, your involvement in this operation.
My involvement in this operation was image processing. So how we take images captured by the drone and obtaining information from those images, such as the geographical position of a target within the image and at which moment in time that image was captured at. That's what I dealt with.
So you took care of pulling the information off the recording system, which was a camera.
Yeah, a Canon PowerShot. That's
So you're the translator droid that goes between the imagery that's collected and the commander who wants to go do something with that information. You're that transition between the drone itself and the outside world.
That's me.
That's you, and that's pretty cool. So in fact, that's what's really interesting. We had a person sitting at this table probably 3 months ago, Gretchen West, talking about that very issue. That is feature extraction, image extraction, information, and intelligence as one of the three dominant and durable business elements of the drone business. That is what we have the airplanes, and we have the sensors, but the analysis of this, turning it into information that's trusted, useful, and has a timestamp on it, and is useful to somebody to perform a mission, is really where the big money is going to be and the durable part of that business, and that's where you are right now.
That's where we are, and we actually got complimented by folks at Google who are running the interoperability server at the competition of how accurate our geotagging or our georeferencing was from our system.
And we'll talk about the trigonometrics that went into that in a minute when we get into the details here, but Jordan, how about you?
Oh, I handled the finances and logistics for the team, so I made sure that we got the components we needed and we got to the competition and everything.
That's kind of important. You had a budget at the beginning of the year, right? You can't bust through the budget halfway through. You have to be able to get the people home from the trip and have enough material left to start again next year. So you were the financier, you were the promoter, you were the purser on this activity.
Yes.
And so what did the overall effort cost you?
The overall effort costed us, if you include travel expenses, approximately $13,000 to $14,000.
$13,000 to support a group of what, 15 maybe? 20, the total size of the group?
Yeah, 20 total.
20 total, of which 7 or 8 went over to the East Coast. And that includes buying the parts, buying all the materials, providing air transport and hotels and this sort of thing. So for basically $500 a person, you got incredible value, a whole semester's worth, a whole year's worth of
2 semesters worth.
2 semesters, that would be a year, right, in my way of thinking, of great educational learning and insight, and setting the stage for the people following you in this activity. That is incredible. That's a very efficient operation. And when you get into the aerospace world, you won't find anything that costs just $13,000. That would be how much is wasted every hour during telephone calls and such. Yeah. So that's a whole different scale. And I did not know it was that, that you guys got it done for that low amount of funding. And just think, 20 people got a great experience and learned a lot in that process. And the UH got a lot of credit for that. That's good stuff. So, let's talk about some of the people behind the scenes that aren't here at the table that might have made this happen. I'd like to do I made a list here of the shout-out people, make sure that Dr. Wayne Shiroma gets a lot of credit here for creating the VIP program. And Wayne, if you're watching, just in honor of your particular style, I am not wearing any shoes. And so we have that covered. And then, of course, Dr. Zachary Trimble was a factor in structural and mechanical advisories to you on this thing. How about other people who helped you along, push this project forward?
We had Iam Bore.
Iam Bore. Iam, you watching? Okay. Iam in Kailua.
And Art Castaldi.
Okay. And Art Castaldi, who is the big dog at Kawainui, and other people at Kawainui probably watching on as well. And Iam has a really interesting characteristic. He's able to describe the complexity of a control system for something like this in the term diversity. And I just think that's a fantastic term that IM has used. Diversity referring to multiple means of communication, multiple means of command and control, so that if one fails or one drops out of range or something like that, the other systems can come in and pick it up. And here you guys are. You guys move pretty fast, according to this video here. I've never seen people move that fast, but this is looks like the pre-competition video. You took this out at Kawainui.
Yep, that's right.
So there is the payload bay. Describe what you're seeing here, Evan.
So we got the batteries inside, a couple sensors and servos plugged into our fixed flight controller, which is the brain of the drone. Right now we're just weighing it. It's 5 pounds, 2 ounces. It's heavier than our actual flight weight, which is 4.75 pounds, because we stuck a GoPro on for this video purposes.
Okay, so you're doing some pre-checks prior to flight and doing some training flights and some calibration flights and proving to the competition that you're a viable competitor to join into this activity. That's what this particular video is all about. So once again, as I was talking about IM and his unique way of expressing this term called diversity, it struck me that that's a term, diversity, you don't find in engineering. What you find in engineering is things you can measure, things that are concrete, not abstract. Diversity is kind of an abstract term, but it made me think also. The terms we are familiar with in engineering, force and work and effort and energy and those type of terms, we all put numbers on them, we do calculations. But those words actually began in philosophy and such like that. People cooked up these terms for force, for something that's making something else happen. And work and energy and such were terms that were roughly defined, not specifically defined. The engineers swiped them from the philosophers and used them to their advantage in trying to characterize what makes systems and such work. So one of these days, we'll see IM's favorite word, diversity, turned into an engineering term, and there'll be means of design and development that ensure diversity. And we have to thank you, IM, for helping us see that new way forward. So the competition, talk about what was involved in this competition, Jordan.
So this competition...
Since you're the finance guy, and if it weren't for you doing your job right, nobody would have gone anywhere. So.
Yeah. So for this competition, we first started out, we figured out what airframe we wanted to get. So initially we chose our Penguin V2 airframe, which isn't here, unfortunately.
We have a stand-in here.
Yeah,
the Penguin's too big to get in here, plus it's being shipped right now, right? So,
yeah.
But this is a stand-in, kind of like the same thing, a wing-body combination of some kind.
Yeah, so we got that, and as a first-year team, we didn't want to go with anything too expensive, so we also looked at other airframes, such as the Skywalker and the...
Didn't want to do things that were too expensive. Here's the finance guy controlling the flow already. That's great.
Or the Anaconda or anything like that. So that's why we chose the Penguin. And it's also, we had to use some money from the previous semester, so we decided just to
in engineering and in aerospace, that's called somebody else's money.
Yeah.
And that's a really important thing to get good at, using somebody else's money. The prior semester, it's great.
So yeah, we made sure we used that money before we lost it.
Yeah.
And
another good lesson learned in advance.
yeah. So after that, we figured out the systems that we needed to actually conduct the mission. So that's why we...
So you went from the mission backwards into the equipment. So you started with achieving the mission. That was your goal. Now you need what the equipage is and how you can buy that effectively.
Yeah.
Great.
And it kind of developed from there. Also, the competition the rules came in after we made that initial purchase, or the finalized rules, actually.
Let me interject again, young fellow. Aerospace is all over that very issue of the requirements changing when you're partway through the project.
Yeah.
Good lesson to learn and figure out how to handle that. The smile on your face.
So we figured how to deal with that.
Cool.
All those issues, and we have our final competition at Maryland, and we competed very well.
So you're talking about working from an somewhat ambiguous mission, working backwards into what the design has to be to support that ambiguous mission. Then the mission hardens up and you have a specific mission. Evan, what did you guys do about that in terms of designing the electronics and designing the flight management system as such to achieve that mission?
So we just needed basic components like batteries, make sure that the ESCs and servos and the motor and the props are put in the right way and plugged in correctly. We don't want anything to short circuit.
Don't want to put the prop on backwards, right?
Yes,
No.
we did that one time.
That's a joke, right?
That's why we couldn't fly very well. But then we flipped it around, then it worked.
So you went from, again, the mission definition and all the equipage required to achieve that mission. And in terms of the actual competition itself, what were the things that were being sought in the competition? What did you have to do to get points?
So for us, we decided to do the two primary tasks, which is waypoint navigation and search air tasks. Waypoint navigation meaning just go from this point to this point, and then search air tasks, we have a polygon and we look in this kind of grid idea for targets.
So the waypoint following, you're given waypoints kind of a surprise, I would suspect. You weren't given this panel of this table of waypoints ahead of time. You had to work them out that morning.
We were given the list of waypoints, I think, a couple of days before the competition.
So you had a couple of days to program in the automatic operations and the flight management system to hit those waypoints. How'd that work?
We hit all of them.
Hit all the waypoints. Good.
Yep.
What would have been a factor that would have made you not hit the waypoints?
Probably really strong winds.
Strong winds. Okay.
There was a time where they stopped flying because the winds got super strong. So we have to wait, I think, maybe 5-10 minutes or so before anyone could fly again.
Interesting. You know, just last Thursday, we took a whole bunch of people up to the Kamehameha Ridge above Hawaii Kai, up where Hawaiian Electric has its power lines up there, and did some demonstrations with some UAVs as part of the Hawaiian Electric activity. We had Stanford, Coast Guard up there, University of Porto, and a bunch of guys, and UH, of course. And you guys were gone, but other people were there. And what we observed is the wind was blowing 30 knots, gusting 35, and we had to operate. So in the say the local infrastructure operations, if you think of it from that perspective, we have to be able to tolerate 35 knot winds. Or basically, if you get out of the truck and you haven't blown over, you ought to be able to fly the thing. So in terms of the absolute challenges that the Pacific provides, we have to deal with that kind of a wind all the time. And saltwater intrusion, and rain, and a bunch of other things. That's editorial. Okay, Kalani, we'll hit the break after we hear from Kalani about, besides the financially controlled mission, the equipage to hit the job, how did you guys come up with the analysis process you actually use to do the extraction?
Well, the analysis process, when you look at the code, it's basic trigonometry. It takes the pitch, roll, and yaw of the aircraft at any given moment in time and captures the geographical location of the projected image like 300 feet below.
Okay, we'll come back to that after the first break. I think that's a really interesting discussion because these are the kind of realities you get into. You have to make a lot of corrections to get the right resolution on the image, and that's a big part of any of these uses in real life. We'll talk about that a little bit more detail when we get back from our first break.
Aloha, join us at TEDx Honolulu 2016. It's at the Blaisdell, July 9th from 10 to 5. The discount code is RACHAEL_TEDXHNL. See you then.
I'm Jay Fidel, and I'm the host of Research in Manoa, Mondays from 12 to 1 on thinktechhawaii.com. Take a look at us and learn about geophysics, learn about planetology, learn about the ocean and earth sciences at UH Manoa. You'll really enjoy it. So come around, we'll see you then.
Aloha, this is Maria Mera, and I'm here to invite you to my bilingual show, Viva Hawaii on Think Tech Hawaii, every other Monday at 3 p.m. We're here to inform, motivate, and entertain you. Join us. Hola, soy María Mera y estoy aquí para invitaros a mi show bilingüe Viva Hawaii en Think Tech Hawaii cada 2 lunes a las 3 de la tarde. Estamos aquí para informaros, motivaros y entreteneros. Apuntaros.
Aloha! How you doing? Welcome to Ibachi Talk. I'm here, Gordo the Tech Czar on Think Tech Hawaii, and I'm here with my good old buddy Andrew, the security guy.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Aloha.
Good
Thanks
to
for
have
watching.
him. Good to have Andrew here in the house. Please join us every Friday from 1 to 1:30 and follow us up on YouTube. And remember, as we say at the end of every show, how you doing?
We're back, folks. Ted Ralston here with our fantastic group of Jordan Bayang, Evan Kawamura, and Kalani Rivera. 3 students at UH. Actually, only 1 student left at UH. The other 2 were short-timers at this point in time. Guys from the drone tech engineering department at University of Hawaii, working under Dr. Wayne Shiroma's VIP program. Just back from a competition, a drone competition, probably the first one ever that Hawaii has won or has participated in, let alone done very well in, on the East Coast of all places. We were just talking to Kalani just before the break about some of the exotics that are part of this image extraction. So taking a picture is one thing from a camera, but adjusting for the roll, pitch, and yaw of the drone, since it may not be over the target directly, and calculating where that target point is from the known point in the sky. Talk a little bit about how you pulled that off again.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't write the code. A member, Stephen Mao, wrote the code. But as I mentioned before, it takes the sine and cosine of the various angles and using the radius of the Earth and the altitude with respect to sea level, we were able to extract with great accuracy the geographic position of the center of each image.
So even though you weren't over these images you were taking pictures of from a couple hundred feet, you were able to calculate where that position on the Earth really was. And I heard either during break or before we were having the show here that Google took an interest in that.
Yeah, Google, they were monitoring, or they were grading actually the target characteristics that we submitted into the competition, and they actually congratulated us for having extreme accuracy.
Did you get their cards?
Unfortunately, no.
Well, I think you can probably do that after the fact and start forming a relationship with those guys. In fact, it'd be cool to have Google throw a challenge at us in terms of things that they see that would be interesting for you guys to take on.
Who knows?
Who knows, exactly, right. In fact, who does know? And you guys are both, you, Evan, and Kalani are both heading off to an engineering future of some kind now that this is behind you. Is that right?
That's the plan.
Okay, that's the plan. So you're both in mechanical.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Engineering, okay, and so what we need to do is have all those mechanical engineering firms that are watching this show get a hold of Kalani and Evan, right? And you can do it through the Think Tech studios here. How do they get a hold of us, Zuri? We'll challenge to her. Okay, our hotline is 415-871-2474. I get that right? Think Tech HI on Twitter. You can get a hold of these 2 fine guys who just come back from doing very well in their first competition and willing to sit down and talk about future, taking that knowledge and pushing it into products of the future. And then Jordan, you got another year left here.
Oh no, you actually swapped me and Kalani. Yes, I just graduated.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Kalani's the one who's sticking around, right? Okay,
Yeah.
You're the one who got the long time here. You guys are both out.
Yeah.
Or
Well, I have
soon
one
to
more
be out.
semester.
One more semester, but we'll call you out at this point in time
Okay.
since you won't be hanging around campus much. And so Kalani, you'll be part of this next year, I presume. When,
Yes, sir.
And carrying it forth. What do we do to get more kids involved, more incoming students involved, or people really in the education, in the engineering program today? How do we get them over to join you guys in this program?
As of right now, your best option would be to find one of us and tell us that you're interested in, and then we'll let Dr. Sharma know to add you into the group.
Okay. Why don't you talk about what this VIP program is a little bit, because it is really an unusual one, and it's a great opportunity for people in disciplines even outside engineering if they wanted to. Like, you're the business guy. You acted as the business guy on this particular program. Wouldn't it have been great to have somebody from the business school sitting in here?
It would have been really nice.
Yeah, okay, so business school, you're out there. So tell us a little bit about the VIP
Okay,
program.
so VIP, it doesn't stand for very important person. It stands for vertically integrated project.
Vertically integrated project.
That's
okay.
correct. So instead of having us separated by grade levels, where sophomores or second years only work with second years, juniors only work with third years, and seniors with seniors, it places freshmen all the way to the seniors working together in the same environment, so that once the seniors graduate, that freshman who becomes a sophomore carries on that knowledge. That knowledge doesn't die the next year. It carries on each year throughout the multiple disciplines.
So the program lives beyond the 4-year cycle of a college education, and it probably can grow and change and keep abreast of the challenges that are coming, in this case from UAVSI. And what about the multidisciplinary aspects? That is, Dr. Sharma heads the electrical engineering department, but there's others, there's probably the dominant members of this group weren't electrical engineers, as I recall.
That's correct. So unlike most projects at the University of Hawaii, this is a multidisciplinary project. So we have mechanical engineers, as like the three of us, electrical engineers, computer engineers, and hopefully we're looking to add some more majors, maybe a business major though, handle the financial and logistic operations. And I know some other physics majors are also interested in partaking in this experiment.
It'd be great to get some of the physics people in terms of the image extraction and the optics and this sort of thing, and think of even, it would be really cool to have some kind of a mathematically gimbaled camera. Fix the camera, use the roll, pitch, and yaw to do the mathematics that you spoke of automatically on board. Mm-hmm. And so this is what we need the other disciplines to help us with here. That's cool. But this is a really unusual opportunity. You don't really find this opportunity to get actually well up the ranks in an engineering operation outside. Even when you go to work, you're going to end up in the structures group or propulsion group, hydraulic group, something like that. You don't get a chance to see that blending of things and the different perspectives that different eyes bring to the challenge and the solution. So it's a really unique opportunity, and I guess hats off to Dr. Sharma for promoting this program, and we ought to get as many people as we can into it. Get 2 VIPs going, right? In fact, have a robot wars fly off, arm these things, and have some competition within the group here.
That'd be fun.
So, interesting to know how you all got into this notion of, or this interest in drones. Let's take it in reverse order. Jordan, how did you get interested and started in UAVs or drones?
Well, I was already interested in aircraft and stuff like that, along those lines, aerospace.
It's a good thing to be interested in, by the way.
Yeah.
I can personally tell you how great that is.
So actually my father is an engineer, so I just kind of took after him, and he works on aircraft as well. So I had this kind of base interest in aircraft systems.
So you had aviation in your blood, that's what you're saying, and you found this is a reasonable and fast way to get a lot of contact with what some of the realities are.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting to me, so.
Okay, and you'll be carrying forth in this as you, now that you're quote unquote out. Right?
That's the plan.
Okay, all right, Evan.
I've actually been on here since spring 2014, and we actually had a quad rotor drone, but we switched to fixed wing. And I've always liked robots and Legos and things like that, and this kind of ties all those things together.
Okay, that's certainly robotics is the essential technology here. The particular uniqueness here is the aviation aspect, which has the structure and the operations, but it also has the air traffic management side, which is a whole nother animal here. We can maybe have a chance to talk about that a little bit. Kalani.
Well, for me, similar to Evan, I always played with Legos growing up. And me and Evan were actually on the same robotics team in high school.
That's right. Yeah.
So as I went to UH, I met Dr. Sharma, and he let me know that he had this project going on, a drone project, and I said, why not? And I've enjoyed it so far.
Cool. Do you guys have a a booth or something at the beginning of the semester when people are running around doing registration and such, where people can see what you're doing and can attach to you, hook up with you, and become part of the activity?
There are some like presentations that we give out during the semester. With one was ASME, another is IEEE.
Sure.
With those student groups, but a lot of it is just word of mouth. I hopped on this program because of Evan. He was previously on the team, and he said, "Oh, I'm working on this senior design project. You want to hop on as well?" And I thought, "Oh, it's interesting, so I'll just join this team."
Okay, and then you mentioned IEEE. That brings in the electronics, and that brings in the computer science people and this sort of thing, and that is a really important layer here to think about. I was, well, there was a conference 2 weeks ago in DC, one of the leading academic conferences dealing with this subject of drones, called ICUAS. And I was intrigued by the agenda. There was an ethics of design aspect that became a whole theme of the conference, ethics of design. And that's where the IEEE comes in, and trusted software and such, because these things that we've developed here, people are going to start depending on them. If they're going to start depending on them, then they have to be as reliable as this pen. You can't have it unreliable, which means, and software has a lot to do with that. And software, when you have components that are built by different houses and you put them together, now you have the issue of the interface between them and how they all play together when there's failure modes or when there's a voltage drop or something like that. So the whole issue of ethics of design is something that, to me, is just absolutely intriguing. If we design something and we expect someone to rely upon it, we better design it so it is, 999 reliability. And that's where I think IEEE is probably leading the way there. That's cool. As far as the ability to take what you learned in the VIP program and turn that outside in terms of continuing on and becoming involved. I know there's several volunteers associated with VIP, and I hope you guys will come back and talk to these guys periodically and then tell them what it looks like from the outside and then give them some encouragement. Anyway, we are coming to the end of our show here, the first time you guys have been on it, and once you're on, you're obligated and committed to future times on the show. And I'll tell you that. In fact, you can even have the show if you want. All you have to do is buy out my contract. And you can talk to Jay about what that would cost and such, but really appreciate having you guys on here. So glad to be able to work with you the last year, and I have my shirt. It's in the closet somewhere. Kalani, congratulations to you on this show. Evan,
thank you.
On your show, and Jordan.
Thank you.
And gentlemen from the Drone Tech unit and the VIP program at University of Hawaii, thanks very much for coming on. Fantastic results in your competition, and we'll see even more next year. And with that, folks, we'll sign off and see you next Friday.